I call to order this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, September 18, 2024. The time is now 5:30. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting was emailed to the Daily Record and the Morris News Feed on January 4th, 2024, and posted on the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available on our website, morristownship.com, under Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters outlined in the Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and township staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Grayzel.
Present.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Here.
Mr. Jonnada.
Here.
Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Mayor Guariglia.
Here. Madam Clerk, will you please read the closed session resolution?
Resolution 218-24, authorizing the governing body to conduct a closed meeting as defined in the Open Public Meeting Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas the Township Committee is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. And whereas the Township Committee wishes to discuss the following: affordable housing and general litigation.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mayor, before you roll, what were the topics for closed session?
Affordable housing and general litigation.
Okay.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. At this time, we are going to move into closed session and resume with the regular meeting at 7 p.m. The closed session may resume after the regular meeting.
Meeting?
This meeting is being recorded. Okay, let's get you that. I call to order this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. The time is now 7:04. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting was emailed to the Daily Record and the Morris News Feed on January 4th, 2024, and posted on the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available on morristownship.com under Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and the township staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Grayzel. Here. Mr. Gyorfy. Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Mayor. Mr. Jonnada.
Here.
Mayor Guariglia.
Here. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the July 17th, 2024 closed and regular meeting and the July 30th, 2024 special meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have two proclamations on the agenda for tonight, and the first one is the Sisters of Charity. I will be attending an event with them. We don't have anybody here this evening, but Committeeman Jonnada will present the Sisters of Charity proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
In recognition of and congratulations on the 165th anniversary of the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth. Whereas celebrating provides an opportunity to reflect on the history of the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth and the contributions they have made to Morris Township in education, healthcare, and pastoral and social services through the years while celebrating the 165th anniversary of their founding. And whereas Mother Mary Xavier Mahegan and Bishop James Roosevelt Bailey founded the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth in Newark on September 29, 1859, to care for orphan children and the sick and to educate children. And whereas on July 2nd, 1860, Mother Xavier relocated the Mother House of the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth to the former site of Seton Hall College and Seminary on Park Avenue. And whereas Mother Xavier and her sisters opened the Academy of St. Elizabeth in 1860 and St. Joseph's Preparatory School for Boys in 1863 in Convent Station, as well as Assumption School in 1875 and St. Margaret's School in 1885, and founded the College of St. Elizabeth in 1899. And whereas the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth staffed All Souls Hospital from 1913 to 1970 and operated Xavier Center, a retreat and conference center, for 50 years. And whereas the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth were instrumental in the establishment of the train station and the post office and donated Convent Road to benefit their neighbors. Now therefore the Mayor and the Township Committee, on behalf of the residents of Morris Township, congratulate the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth on their 165th anniversary. On a personal note, my daughter was a recent graduate of St. Elizabeth University, so we're thankful for the founding of this school and also to be part of the township, and also providing the name of Convent Station. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Jonnada. The second proclamation we have on tonight's agenda is the proclamation as September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. We do have on Zoom, we have a special guest, Rachel Sackett-Putman. We will let her speak after I read the proclamation and make some comments. Whereas ovarian cancer is the fifth leading cause of death among women, and the American Cancer Society estimates each year approximately 19,710 women will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2024, and 13,270 individuals will die from the disease nationwide, including 560 new cases and 350 deaths here in New Jersey. Whereas in the United States, a woman's lifetime risk of being diagnosed with ovarian cancer is about 1 in 78. Whereas due to vague symptoms and the lack of reliable early detection tests, most women are not diagnosed until stage 3 or later, when the cancer has already begun to spread to the lymph nodes and outside of the pelvis. Whereas although the 5-year survival rate for stage 1 ovarian cancer is over 90%, only 15% of ovarian cancers are diagnosed at this early stage, and the 5-year survival rate for the late stage ovarian cancer is below 30%. Whereas while a mammogram can detect breast cancer and a pap smear can detect cervical cancer, there is no reliable early detection test for ovarian cancer. Whereas women's lives can be saved through increased public awareness of ovarian cancer and its risk factors, signs, and symptoms. Whereas this month, the Township of Morris joins all those who are battling ovarian cancer, those who have lost their lives to the disease, their loved ones, and our state's many dedicated healthcare workers in spreading awareness, committing to public education, and embracing hope for better diagnoses, treatment, and a cure. Now, therefore, the Township Committee of the Township of Morris does hereby proclaim September 2024 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Morris, New Jersey. And the Township Committee does encourage all residents of the Township of Morris to observe Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month and support the cause that so deeply impacts families in every community across our country. September is the time to spread the word about ovarian cancer risk and prevention, push for more scientific research, and make progress towards a cure for ovarian and related gynecological cancers, as well as all women's health issues across the board. I know too well the unknown symptoms of this cancer are vague or absent. I lost a dear friend in her 40s thinking her symptoms were premenopausal and didn't worry about them, and sadly was diagnosed with stage 4. I am also a big proponent for better research into all women's medical issues and talking more about what for years were uncomfortable subjects, including menstruation and menopause. We need to bring more awareness and education to help end this devastating type of cancer and bring all women's health issues to the level of importance that men have had for so many years. I would now like to ask Rachel if you would like to speak on Zoom.
Yes, I would like to. Thank you so much for allowing me to join, and Mayor Guariglia, thank you for supporting this proclamation in the Township of Morris. And thank you for those additional words as well. I think you really hit the nail on the head, is that we need to bring more awareness to this cancer. I was blindsided by my diagnosis at 38. I thought all along my, healthy pap smears were keeping me safe from ovarian cancer, but pap smears only detect cervical cancer. And I think that's a big misconception out in the public. My type of cancer, low-grade serous, accounts for only about 5 to 10% of all ovarian cancers. It disproportionately impacts young premenopausal women, so I wonder if your friend actually had this very specific rare type. And it is insidious and recurrent with an 85% recurrent rate. So at 4 years out, I have really beaten the odds. And it's unfortunately ultimately fatal. Ovarian cancer is one of the few unique cancers that have a lasting impact on people like myself. I was diagnosed while trying to seek fertility treatment for my husband and I, and ultimately it took away my ability to have biological children. And so I think it's super important to create this awareness to understand the signs and symptoms. And to your point, they are vague. A lot of times, many of the doctors confuse them with GI symptoms. So it's important to really have these good conversations with your doctors. Understand that anything lasting longer than 2 weeks, you should seek medical care. And I think, through these proclamations, through creating awareness across the country, we can help to, put an end to ovarian cancer, or at least come up with a reliable detection test. My cancer also does not have any FDA treatment. So basically, I am on a breast cancer maintenance drug that hopefully keeps my cancer at bay. And, for me and my family, it's really impacted us. And so I really appreciate you guys standing by me, by my Teal community, and just really giving us hope for the future.
Thank you, Rachel, and we're all here happy to support. And again, we thank God that you are here, and we know how hard you're fighting to make this issue be in the forefront of everybody's medical health issues, so that we can all find better ways to help end all kinds of cancers, and especially this one that goes so undiagnosed. Any other comments from anyone?
No, I'll just add to what the mayor said, Rachel. It's a horrible thing, gynecological cancers. So many of them go undiagnosed for so long. I know it's hit home to me with a couple of women in my life. So, my heart goes out to you and your family, and I wish you absolutely the best of everything. Good health, continued good health for the rest of your life. So, it's a brave thing you're doing, coming out to the various towns and being there when they support Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and letting women know that it's so important to have to be aware of whatever it is that something doesn't feel right, then something's not right. So thank you for letting women all over know that.
Thank
Thank you for those comments. I'll just add really quickly too. A month prior to my ovarian cancer diagnosis, I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer as well. And just to give you an idea, it took 2 invasive surgeries during the pandemic and 4 months to be diagnosed with my ovarian cancer. It took 1 week to get diagnosed with my breast cancer, just to give you an idea of the health crisis that we have out there as it relates to ovarian cancer.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
The next thing we have on the agenda is we have one presentation tonight, and I would like to call, did you say something? Oh, sorry. I would like to call up Noelle Robinson, who is on our Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, and she is going to present the Seniors Advisory Committee Transportation Report that was submitted by both Noelle and Edna Gruber McGrath. And I'd like to also welcome some of our other seniors in the audience who came out to attend.
Yeah.
Before you start, Noelle, I do just want to say Noelle Robinson in so many ways has been such a great volunteer in our community, but her work here too, she's extremely dedicated, and she's got things moving really quickly on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. So we welcome you and we look forward to your presentation.
Well, thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge my co-chair, Barbara Sabiri. We've been a very good team working together. And I'm sorry Edna isn't here because she works specifically on this transportation report with me. The first thing is I'd like to thank the committee because it came as a huge and happy surprise when we learned that there's actually funding for a senior transportation bus. We thought that, it was years down the road. So hopefully in the not too distant future, there will be a bus serving seniors. On a personal note, my dad lived with us for 5 years. Am I not speaking into this? Okay. All righty. On a personal note, my dad lived with us for 5 years. And honestly, if there had been a senior bus, it would have been a great help to us. We were both working, and he ended up in adult daycare, and he was picked up and dropped off, but it took a while to find that arrangement for him. And more recently, my sister, who is quite a bit younger than I am, but as a result of an unfortunate situation, ended up with a spinal injury and was confined to a wheelchair, lived with us for 4 years. She moved out 2 years ago. And again, if there had been a bus, especially to take her to medical appointments, it would have been a lot easier on us. Because of her spinal condition, she had a very, very heavy wheelchair. And at the time, we didn't have a van, and her wheelchair had to be disassembled, put into the car to bring her to appointments, and it was very difficult. So I have a personal interest in all this. I'm going to backtrack a minute before I discuss the report, just to say that early in 2023, the first year of the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, we conducted a survey asking seniors about life in the township, what was working for them, what kind of ideas they would like to see. And we had 600 residents respond, just about 600, I think it was 590 something. And we thought that was very good. The county did a survey of seniors right around the same time, and they only got 600 in the whole county. So we thought, we did very well. And that was followed by focus groups with 41 participants in October 2023. The reason I'm mentioning the survey is because in the survey, transportation did not come as a top priority, and I wanted to explain why that was. That was because the people who responded to our survey, the vast majority of them were aged 61 to 74, and really, for the most part, this age cohort is not in need of transportation. Most people in that age group do drive. So the whole point of having a bus for seniors in the community is that we should be looking forward. The same people who filled out our survey, 80% of them, 79.7% of seniors in Morris Township who answered our survey said they plan and wish to remain in place in their homes. So these are people that are going to age in our community, and they'll definitely be in need of transportation in the not too distant future. So with that in mind, we decided to undertake a study of how other towns have transportation for seniors, how it works, what we would recommend, etc. We're happy to see in the publicity that came out that the bus that's proposed would be wheelchair accessible. We think that's very important. That, of course, means that you need a CDL driver, a special driver for that bus, and I assume you would all know that. We were happy to see that one of the things that was mentioned is that the bus or the van, whatever, would be used to transport seniors to the new community center. And certainly making seniors available to go to activities is extremely important. We all know that isolation and loneliness is a big problem with seniors, and having activities readily available is pretty important. So I'll report on transportation. Over the last several months, Edna and I gathered information by phone on 4 state and local resources, and then we gathered information on 11 municipalities in the area and the transportation they provide for seniors. We followed up with 5 towns that have good options for their seniors. And Tim helped us with that second stage with the 5 towns that we were interested in more information from. And I assume everybody has the report or got the report, is that right? You all have it? Okay, all right, good. What I would like to do is to concentrate on the recommendations that were on page 4 at the end of the report, the conclusion and recommendations. We definitely feel that Morris Township should have a free transportation service for senior citizens, as some of the surrounding towns have had for years. Many of them for 20 or 30 years have had vans. We think that before you decide how the van or bus is to be used, you should do a survey to see what seniors wish to use it for. And I can tell you from our looking at other towns, medical appointments is huge. And of course, we're lucky that we're in such close proximity to the Morristown Medical Center, because the van, could easily be used to drop off people for appointments. The second reason that people seem to want to have a van is for grocery shopping. And many of the surrounding communities have vans that once a week make grocery trips. They'll pick up various people. We also very strongly advocate a dial-a-ride system. We think that having a route and going around and trying to pick up people is not effective. Seniors don't want to be standing out in the snow or rain or cold or heat or whatever, hoping that the bus will come. They'd rather, have a dial-a-ride, which many of the surrounding communities have. That's the way most of their vans work. Many of them, people have to call in advance a certain number of days, especially for medical appointments. People, seem to be happy with that. Let's see what else. Oh, if it could be used for the community center or for senior trips and outings, so much the better. Most of the towns do not have a full-sized bus. They have vans, 1 or more. Several of the towns have up to 2, 3, or 4 vans. You would have to decide what we want. But I think a larger bus is probably not cost-effective. It would be wonderful if it could be an EV vehicle. But I was talking to Donna today, and apparently there's a long waiting list for those. So maybe a hybrid or whatever, especially since this transportation system would be making short runs. It wouldn't be going miles and miles. An EV or a hybrid seems like a very good idea. Of course, the township would have to do a complete assessment of the course costs, and I think everybody has to be realistic that, you know, it's not going to earn anybody any money, but it's a valuable community service for our seniors. And I also suspect, though I don't have any solid evidence for this, that it might get off to a slow start. It'll be hard to have, or it'll take work and publicity to have people aware of it and how it's going to work and so forth. So it might start off slowly. But in the towns where it works well, like in East Hanover and Randolph and Madison, they have dozens of people a week who use it. Some people use it on a consistent basis. They use it once a week. Other people are occasional users. But I think it'll take time to build up the ridership and to get people to be aware of the advantages of using it. As an aside, Donna and I were up at Morris Muse today, and those folks would be a prime target for the use of a van. A number of them that I spoke to today, I was helping TAC, the Transportation Advisory Committee, do a survey up there about transportation. And a number of the people up there do have their own cars, but they told me that they don't like to drive, and a number of them said, this is my last year driving, or if I didn't have to use a car to get to medical appointments, I'd be happy to give it up. It's an expense. I'm not comfortable driving. So I think even the people who do drive up there, some of them told me they'd use the bus anyway if it went someplace that they needed to go, and it was easy to use. Let's see, what else? Well, I think that probably covers it. I forgot to say, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I don't mind, you know, you could have asked them as I went along, but we're very happy, the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, that this is coming to fruition. We appreciate your work on this, and of course, the upcoming community center, which we're very excited about, and we are hoping that we'll be able to have some input on that too, on the design of the building and appropriate modifications for seniors that might require. So I think that's about it. Are there any questions anybody has?
So Noel, just before, I just want to say too, I thank you all so much because I think you did such a great report, and you came up even in your conclusion and recommendations. Obviously, definitely the seniors will have input into, we'll hold meetings like we do and get their input.
Great.
I love your idea of when you said 3 or 4. I think we're getting a little ahead of our skis here on that. But this is going to be very exciting, and we're all really looking forward to it. And again, I just can't say enough how hardworking the senior group is.
Oh, thank you.
How willing they are to participate and give us feedback so we can continue to meet the needs. Do any committee members have any questions?
I don't have any questions, I just had a comment, just to say thank you for this comprehensive report. The ideas that I heard were just really wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
To the extent that we can do some of these things, we will.
Thank you. That's great. That's very good news. So.
Committeeman Gyorfy?
Mayor, thanks. I can hear Noel really well for all the people attending virtually, but it's very hard to hear anyone from the dais. It sounds like you guys are talking across the room. So just letting you know, I don't know if there's an issue in the tech or if people's mics are on or off, but it's very hard to hear the committee. Noel, thank you for coming in to talk. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm feeling under the weather tonight. I didn't want to get anyone sick. But thank you, Noel and Edna, for putting together the report and presenting. Thank you to the whole committee for all your great work. I know it's been a long time coming. I know our active seniors have been advocating the township to get dedicated transportation services for a long time. I know former Mayor Wilson was a huge advocate about that. I think this is a great opportunity. Earlier this year, I was helping an elderly relative who lives in Verona get transportation to a grocery store and to doctor's appointments. And in Verona, you only have Essex County transportation services for seniors, but Verona itself had a bus with a dedicated shuttle route for each day going to different grocery stores. And then you also had dial-a-ride sedans for doctor's appointments. And that really stood out to me. Clearly, there's opportunities for Morris Township to improve. And I'm excited that we're taking a big first step toward getting to having that sort of service for our seniors. So thank you for all your work. And we have a lot of exciting work ahead of us for the bus and for the community center. And I know that Senior Advisory Committee and TAC will definitely be parts of all those conversations for planning, for shuttle routes, for designing and building the community center as well. So thank you for all your work.
Thank you. And I neglected to mention that Kathy Wilson really did a very, very good job getting us underway with the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. And I know she emailed me today. She was sorry she couldn't come tonight, but she was also a very strong proponent of transportation for seniors as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noel. Really appreciate it. Mark, we'll try to figure out, are you hearing us any better or not?
I mean, it looks like you're talking right into the mic, but it's not really coming through. So oddly, like the mic at the podium's fine. So maybe you can all just keep walking up to the podium every time you talk.
Mark, can you hear my mic?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Maybe we have to get very close.
Okay.
So I'm just, don't mean to make your lives difficult, but I can't hear you.
If you're not hearing it, if the others aren't as well, we need to figure out what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are going to open our first public comment inquiry period. There are currently 5 members of the public joining us via Zoom, and there are 5 members here in person. At this time, we will open the meeting to public comment. We will first take comments from in-person attendees, and then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please use the raise your hand option in Zoom if you would like to speak. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note that your comments are limited to 5 minutes. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Seeing no one from the public, we have, oh, I'm sorry. I know, we have 1 member on Zoom. Mrs. Memmer?
Yes, thank you very much. Marlene Memmer, 63 Independence Way. I just had a quick question for Noel, actually, in regards to the transportation, the bus, and when they talk about, I'm sorry, am I getting through?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When they're talking about grocery shopping appointments, does that include our neighboring towns, Florham Park, not only Common Station and Morristown, but also Madison, wherever? That was my question.
Well, that would be something that the committee would have to decide. I would say in most towns, for any kind of shopping, it is pretty local. I would imagine in Morris Township, it would be logical to have transportation to the ShopRite that's over on West Hanover, because there could also be drop-offs at our new marketplace over there. And it would be a way of encouraging residents to use that nice brand new mall. But it would be up to the committee to decide exactly where. From what I've seen of grocery shopping on transportation in other towns, usually they try to have 2 options. Either one week they go to one store and then the next week to the other store, or they have 2 grocery runs a week. But usually they try to give people a choice, I think, from what I've read.
Thank you, Noel.
Okay, Thank you for that. Can I just ask, just to reiterate something, as far as appointments go, our doctor, my husband and I are in Florham Park, which is right down the road. Would that be something that might be covered?
It's something that we will have those discussions and we'll make those decisions. Obviously, there will be certain boundary lines that are very close, so we'll have to have those discussions once we get closer to actually planning out the routes.
Okay, thank you very much. And that would be outlined when we get the confirmation of, the bus and its availability and the areas that would be included, I would imagine. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Seeing no other members from the public wishing to speak, will someone make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have two ordinances for public hearing and adoption on tonight's agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the title of ordinance 2224 into the record, and we will then open the public hearing.
Ordinance number 22-24, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris, amending and readopting Chapter 460, towing the Township Code. Note, revised selection process.
We will take comments from in-person attendees first, then we'll switch to Zoom. Please virtually raise your hand in Zoom to indicate you would like to speak. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 22-24?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing no members in person, Mrs. Member, is your hand raised again, or did you just not remove?
It was never put down, Mayor.
Okay,
Sorry
thank you.
about that. Yes, I'm trying to read my notes here, my things here on the line here. Not quite sure what I'm doing. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Seeing no other members of the public wishing to speak, will someone make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 22-24?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion or any questions on the ordinance? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. I, Donna J. Guariglia, Mayor, declare ordinance number 22-24 approved and adopted, and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 22-24 into the record, and
23.
23-24 into the record, and then we will open public comment.
Ordinance 23-24, ordinance reappropriating $79,155.16 proceeds of obligations not intended for their original purposes in order to provide for the replacement of the swimming pool UV light disinfection water treatment system in and by the Township of Morris. Note, reappropriation of funds for swim pool UV disinfection system.
Again, we will take comments from in-person attendees first, then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please virtually raise your hand in Zoom if you would like to speak. May I have a motion to open the public comment on ordinance 23-24?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing no one from the public and no hands raised on Zoom, will someone make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 23-24?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion or any questions? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. I, Donna J. Guariglia, declare ordinance number 23-24 approved and adopted, and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. We have 20 resolutions on tonight's agenda. Committeeman Gyorfy will recuse himself from resolutions 224-24, 235-24, and 238-24 due to his role in the fire department. We will pull those three resolutions from the block, and we will vote on them separately.
Additionally, I request that we pull 219-24 for a separate vote.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve resolutions 223-24 and 225-24 through 223-24 and 236-24 and 37-24 by one motion?
Well, I think you missed 220 and 221, though. No? Can you repeat it?
Oh, because you said 219, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just 219.
I got it. So it's 220-24 through 223-24 and 225-24 through 234-24 and 236-24 and 37-24 by one motion.
What
I'll make
about,
that motion.
sorry, 238-24 is pulled out?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's up top. See, Jeff?
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll second Mark's motion.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve resolutions 224-24, 235-24, and 238-24 by one motion? Those are the fire ones.
So moved.
Deputy Mayor.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy recused, and Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to 219-24?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. 219 speaks to a request for water service outside the district of the Southeast Morris County Municipal Utilities Authority. That is the water utility that services Morris Township, Morristown, Hanover, and Morris Plains. We've had multiple requests for service outside of the district. I realize this is just one home, but there are multiple outstanding requests at the moment. And I have great concerns about the capacity of our system that have not yet been answered. And I don't feel I have personally adequate information to vote on such a request outside the district until I get such information. So I could ask that we remove this for future discussion at next month's meeting, and perhaps we will have additional information about capacity. Or if you decide to proceed, I will be abstaining from voting on this resolution because I personally feel I don't have adequate information to properly vote.
So, Committeeman, are you presenting a motion to table?
Yes, so why don't I go ahead and present a motion that we table 219-24 in the hopes that we get additional information from SMC MUA in the coming weeks regarding my
Is there a
question.
second?
Wait, okay, go ahead.
Is there a
Yes.
second to the committeeman's motion to table?
Do you want to discuss it?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You would need a second, yeah. If there's no second, I
Go
will do.
ahead, Committeeman Gyorfy.
You want a second for the purpose of the
Is
discussion?
there some sort of deadline for this property that they need, or some sort of extenuating circumstance that this access needs to be immediate?
Yes, sir, there is. There's a time of the essence on this. It's a single-family home off of Sand Spring Road. The other homes around that also have the service from the water utility. And for the record, the other three municipalities have all adopted the ordinance. But it requires all four municipalities to adopt, the resolution in order for them to provide the service.
Is the house under construction?
No, sir, it's not.
It's not under construction yet?
But the roadway is going to be repaved and there's a time of the essence from what I'm told to get the water line in there.
I think this would send a message to Harding about our concern about the other issues. I think we should table it for a month. It's only 4 weeks.
Well, there's a motion and there's a second.
Who seconded?
There's no second.
Oh, there's no
second.
second.
Is there a second?
I would just comment. I concur with Deputy Mayor Grayzel's concerns with the water utility. Mr. Grayzel has brought up several concerns with their capacity, with their failure to disclose information to the municipalities. I 100% agree. However, I think we need to find a different venue to express our disappointment with their lack of details for us.
May I comment?
Yes.
And while I also agree with the deputy mayor on the flow of information, to and from the water utility to the governing body, we do have a time of the essence issue, and I don't want to penalize a homeowner for something that's out of that homeowner's control. So I'm in favor of continuing to vote on this.
If I could add one more comment. We have other outstanding issues with Harding in terms of requests for water service. They have not been, I don't think, responsive to setting up meetings. And again, I think this sends a message to that municipality that we are concerned with capacity of the system. It's one way of sending a message. I'm not saying I'm not voting for it. I'm just asking for it to be tabled for a month.
If I may, sir, this is not a request from Harding. This is a request from the property owner.
Oh, okay. The others are too, aren't they? I mean, they're from the Mount Campbell.
Right, but it has an affordable housing component, some other things with a.
I understand that. Yep.
So,
That's my position.
so we have this motion on the table.
Yeah, I think we've asked for a second once. We'll ask for a second twice. Hi, Mayor. There's no second to that motion.
Okay. So can I have a motion to approve Resolution 219-24?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Grayzel,
I'm going to abstain for the reasons I stated already on the record. Thank you.
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. We have 3 items on the consent calendar this evening. Can I have a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar by one motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The following reports are on file in the office of the Township Clerk and the Township Administrator. The August 2024 Tax Department, Police Department, and Morris Township Library, July 2024 Fire Department, and the June 2024 Fire Department. Can I have a motion to approve the monthly reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Claims for payment, list of bills and vouchers. The total amount of bills and vouchers for this meeting is $9,342,918.66. We are also the tax collector for the school district, the library, and the county. May I have a motion to approve the list of bills and vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. At this time, we will go to our standing committee reports and general commentary, and we will start with Committeeman Jonnada.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Regarding the Environmental Commission, we have a Butterworth Meadow development that's entered phase 1. 1 acre has been fenced off, the ground being prepared for next year's planting for a meadow consisting of native plants. I think it should look good after a couple of years, to see them out now. And we're also going to have a poster contest like we did last year with the local schools. And we're planning to hold a tour of our sewage treatment plants, the one or both of them sometime in the near future. And for the Morristown Fall Festival, the Environmental Commission will have a tent along with the Transportation Advisory Committee. This is the first time the TAC is going to be at the Morristown Fall Festival. It's going to be a pretty fun thing. I encourage anybody to come by and go to both booths. And speaking of TAC, they held their final walking tours this past month, last month. The senior walking tour was held at Lewoneka Park on August 22nd. And they had one at Speedwell on September 7th and Fieldhouse and Arboretum on September 14th. The Arboretum walk was in conjunction with the Historical Preservation Commission, led by Carol Burkin, and was very informative for anybody who was interested in that. And if you weren't also interested, the Arboretum is always open for anybody to get to a nature walk. And the final tour will be held on September 21st. It's on the traction line, and it's going to be by bicycle, so be sure to bring your helmet with you. And as for my comment, normally I talk about history, but I'll talk about personal history because a personal family friend of ours passed away last week. His name was Narasimha Rao Tadikunda. Dr. Tadikunda passed away at the age of 90. He was a long-time Morris Township resident for 50 years, lived in the Butterworth neighborhood. He's one of the people I would call a hidden treasure. These are people who are little known in the larger community, but had a direct impact to those who knew them. And in turn, they impacted those who did not know them. And Dr. Rao, or I call him Rao Uncle, was such a person. He came to this country by boat in San Francisco with just a slide rule and pocket money. Studied at Berkeley for graduate studies, then got his PhD in Stanford at electrical engineering. And one would think with this pedigree he would go and work in Silicon Valley. However, he took a job in Bell Laboratories on the other side of the country because Bell Labs was where innovation happened. It was where the transistor was invented and the Big Bang Theory was discovered. Silicon Valley was not yet a thing, but Uncle was one of those innovators. He invented something called call waiting. For anybody who knew what call waiting was, he was the one who had a patent on it. My father worked at Bell Labs as well, and that's how we met the family. And we had parties at their place at Thanksgiving, and they came to ours for Christmases, and we grew up with their children together. And they even held my parents' 25th, surprise 25th anniversary. And I remember him as a tinkerer because he held, as I mentioned, he held a patent for call waiting. He also worked with heat kits. Those who remember what heat kits were, they were where you can build things like speakers and stereo equipment. And he also built a very fruitful vegetable garden for his wife. And they were married for 57 years. And they raised two very accomplished children, who in turn have raised their own families, which we met at their family memorial yesterday. And his living monument is that family and friends who were there, and they were very numerous. As I mentioned, he is one of our hidden treasures who have built this country. His story is not just an immigrant story, but an American story. Their accomplishments are not often found in newspapers or media, but they're known for those who count, and their legacy continues as long as we remember their impact in the world. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Jonnada, and we're sorry for your loss. And I do know, I live in the neighborhood, Siva knows this, that they live around the corner from me. And it was yesterday when I came home, the amount of cars that were surrounding the whole neighborhood. So he definitely was very highly regarded. Thank you. Mr. Committeeman Gyorfy.
Thank you, Mayor Guariglia. I don't know them here, but thank you for the time. I had a few updates that I'll just present as one full report as opposed to standing committee reports and general commentary. It's been a long time coming, but the shovels are in the ground in Collinsville for the Collinsville Playground Tucker Park reconstruction project. That work started about a week ago, and if you've driven by, you've seen the amount of work that they've done is really impressive. Thank you to our Parks and Rec staff, Bill Fulch, our consultants, Tim Quinn, and Mr. Ravitz for all the work that they've done to get this project to where it is today. It's been at least 3 years in terms of when we started to put funding in place for this project and when we've started to receive grants to help pay for this project. We've gotten about $1 million in federal dollars to pay for this reconstruction, along with about $600,000 from the state. And we're really excited to see the work progress over the coming months. As stated earlier in the evening about the senior shuttles bus, the township got word that we were receiving 2 grants from the Department of Transportation to help pay for road projects that we have already budgeted in this year's budget. Those projects are the Bailey Hollow Road resurfacing project, along with the reconstruction projects of 3 streets in Fairchild. That's Delmar Ave, Ridgewood Road, and Bryant. And because of the money that is now available in our budget, we will be using that to purchase the senior shuttle bus, which will be wheelchair accessible, as Noel noted, which we're super excited about, and we'll also be able to further fund the architectural and design work for the community center. So we will be getting the word out in the coming months when we'll be having intake sessions for not only the shuttle's service route, but also what the residents want in a community center and how we're going to get them there. So there's going to be a lot of work to do. We're excited to be going to RFP soon to hire professionals to manage the community center project for us. And we're looking forward to continuing to work not only with building out this project, since now we have the money to design it fully without having to seek more funds. While we do that, we'll be seeking those funds for the construction. So there's a lot of exciting work to be done, and I'm really happy to be part of it. I wanted to note that as OEM liaison, the fire department announced that they are expanding their EMT ALS coverage for advanced life safety calls to 24/7. Residents may know our fire department responds to medical calls 7 days a week and some calls during the weekends when the Minutemen need help. And the department has changed its policy to expand that coverage to 24/7 to provide quality care for all residents when they need it. And this is a big add-on to the township, and I'm excited to see the fire department leading on providing quality care for our residents 24/7. Lastly, I just wanted to highlight that our Veterans Banners project is, and applications are out now for banners to be printed ahead of Veterans Day in November. So if residents have a loved one, a friend, or themselves are a veteran and want to recognize those individuals, please see our website to apply for a banner. The banners cost $200, and they are considered contributions to the American Legion Post 59 to help support all the good work they do with their veterans outreach. If a family or an individual cannot afford a banner, the township will help seeking a sponsor to help purchase that banner for that individual. With that, I will yield back my remaining time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Gyorfy. And I have to say that I think all of us here on the Township Committee, and we always work together as a team, but I think that Committeeman Gyorfy, I'm going to have to refer to as the money man, because he seems to have really gone above and beyond, and his efforts in helping securing funding and grant money have been excellent. So we thank you for all your hard work in those areas. Committeeman Ravitz.
Thank you, Mayor. I will also be brief, and I just want to touch on a couple of the things that Committeeman Gyorfy had said. Certainly about the Collinsville construction starting. It has been a long time coming for sure, and much to the frustrations of the residents and the Township Committee, it started a little later than we wanted to, but I think that on a positive note that it actually did start, and we are going to get this project done, and it's going to be an incredible project for us to accomplish, and what a boon it's going to be to the residents of Collinsville. So everybody, many township committees had their hand in this, and many committee people had their hand in it, and kudos to everybody for keeping a close eye on it and finally bringing it to fruition. I also want to commend Committeeman Gyorfy for the funding, as the mayor had also mentioned, being the money guy. This is a fantastic, a couple of grants that we got for road projects that we can redirect money that we had allocated for the senior, for the architectural design for the community center. So kudos to you, Mark, for that. That was really great. I also just want to mention that we do have an election this year. Vote by mail ballots are going out in a couple of days on the 21st of September. And for those who have registered to vote by mail, I urge you to complete your ballots and return them as soon as possible. There is a ballot drop-off box here at the municipal building. So please take advantage of that. It's important that everybody's voice be heard in this election. just want to end as I typically do, and by saying that, let's not marginalize or demonize those who have less political power or economic power than some of us currently enjoy. Rather, let's stand up to those who continue to profit from our division. Equal rights for all citizens does not diminish the right of any other citizens. And as we've been hearing a lot over the last month or so, and something that I've been saying since the day I got here on the dais, we have more in common than should ever divide us, and which we will realize again when we start talking to each other and not at each other. Amplifying misinformation and hateful and violent rhetoric is not part of any civil society. And lastly, before I turn it back over to you, Mayor, be kind. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, because kindness matters. Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Ravitz, and also thank you for bringing over your incredibly beautiful little granddaughter. So it's nice for you to share her with us. Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Thank you, Mayor. For my committee, for my committee reports tonight, the EDAC meeting that had been scheduled for earlier this week unfortunately had to be canceled because too many of its members could not attend, so that we did not have a quorum. So I have no updates there. On the agenda tonight, we had 4 resolutions related to funding 4 separate projects at our 2 sewer plants. Morris Township is continually upgrading the sewer system and the plants that process our sewage. And please, residents should see the agenda for more details on each of these 4 projects. For engineering, I have my usual roadway updates. Paving is now complete in the neighborhood of Bradford Estates, as well as Bailey Hollow Road and the various streets that were part of our annual overlay program. I have previously reported on the progress of the road reconstruction project for Pine Tree Lane, Kennedy Road, and Gregory Avenue. That project is now complete and it looks great. It's like the neighborhood got a facelift and now has a great new look. On the agenda tonight was a resolution for surveying work for Ridgewood Road, Delmar Avenue, and Bryan Avenue, and this is our next neighborhood facelift project. And I would like to just remind the public that, the investments that we're making in individual neighborhoods raises the value, I believe, of our entire town. It makes us look great across the board, and it's a great investment, even if it's not in your neighborhood. I really believe it raises property values across the town. For my personal commentary, I too would like to thank Noelle Robinson for her presentation tonight, as well as all of the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee members that helped out on the report together. I would also like to acknowledge Kathy Wilson, who is a driving force in putting together the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, and thank Kathy for all her work leading up to the report tonight. I want to remind people that all the volunteers for SCAC are our fellow residents who are giving their time to make our municipality a better place for all of us. So I wanted to thank all of the individual members on SCAC for stepping up to volunteer and do this great work. 2 months ago at our monthly meeting here, I condemned the act of hatred that occurred with an assassination attempt against former President Trump. Unfortunately, another similar attempt was perpetuated this past week, but thankfully no shots were fired. Making it worse for me is some commentary that I've seen on social media where one person puts the blame on an entire swath of people, when in reality it was only one unhinged person that was committing the violence. That is a result of hate from one person against another. But it is disconcerting when whole groups of people are targeted in response to an act of hate by an individual. So I'd like to take this opportunity to repeat some of my remarks from a couple months ago. Hate comes in many forms these days, and I condemn hate in all of its forms. It has no place in our modern civic society, whether it be religious hate, racial, ethnic hate, or political hate. And it is up to all of us to help put an end to it. We must call it out when we see it, and we must report it if it is threatening to another member of our community. Hate is something that I have actively been working on to combat. One of the organizations I do volunteer work is the Jewish Federation of New Jersey here in this area on its Community Relations Council. And one of our initiatives I personally participate in is an interreligious group called Community Leaders Against Hate. Hate puts our democracy at risk. It is completely antithetical to how our founders designed our system, which is rooted in the idea that rigorous debate of ideas makes our country stronger. We all need to commit to the peaceful resolution of our differences and sometimes agree to respectfully disagree and call out words and deeds of hate that threaten other people. Mayor, that concludes my remarks for tonight.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Grayzel. As far as my updates, Committeeman Jonnada spoke a little bit about TAC. I did want to let everybody know that tomorrow, Thursday evening at 7:30 here at Town Hall, we are having a Complete Streets Roundtable discussion due to the fatalities that occurred in Morris County over the summer months. The mayors will be joining me here from the surrounding towns and urging the Morris County Commissioners to create a county complete streets policy in order to help with the connections the county roads create that affect all of our towns and ensure best practices for safety for all who travel, whether by car, bike, or walking. We are also urging anyone going to the Fall Festival in Morristown on Sunday, September 29th, to walk, bike, or scoot to the event, and if you do so, stop by the Transportation Advisory Committee table and let us know that that's how you came and you didn't bring a car. TAC also had an update from Engineer Jim Slate on all the projects that are going on, and this is something that he will be giving to TAC on a quarterly basis. I also want to thank the TAC members for once again pulling off a great Morristown in Motion summer event schedule. We continue to increase our numbers, and we will work with our other committees to keep finding new routes and adventures to expose to our residents. On the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, I again want to thank Noelle for her presentation tonight and all the others who work on SCAC and who contribute such great committee work. We have another meeting next week, and each one of the subcommittees is coming up with new ideas and incentives for all of our seniors. Kathy Wilson would have been here tonight. I think it's interesting. She texted me and said she's at a league, the New Jersey League of Municipalities, which always does their dinners on this third Wednesday. So she apologized and said, I'm so sorry, but she finally gets a chance to attend those. I attended the senior club picnic at Ginty Pool at the end of the summer, and they had a great time there. They always do. They have their DJ, they do line dancing. I also want to thank our Parks and Rec staff because they always do such a great job. As far as my commentary, in our efforts to be transparent and encourage residents' input, we have coming up Coffee with the Mayor is this Saturday from 10 to 12 noon at Hillside Firehouse. We encourage anybody to please come by. It's nice, relaxing. You can sit down, have a conversation. Let me and we can have one other committee person comes by and let us know any concerns or any of the good things you see happening in the township. Please let us know. On September 25th, we're having an affordable housing meeting. We urge residents to attend this educational session here at Town Hall with our leading experts, and you will have an opportunity to ask some questions. September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic History Month, and the theme this year is Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. I do want to thank all of our Hispanic and Latinx residents for all the cultural contributions they make to our community. The Latin population in the U.S. is over 60 million people. Latinos enrich our nation and our local communities with contributions of vibrant art, popular foods, entertainment, new entrepreneurs, public servants, and many more things. The other thing I attended last night in Morris Plains was the Mental Health Symposium put on by Mayor Carr, along with our mayor group, law enforcement, and presentations by leading experts sharing all the programs that Morris County has to offer. Sheriff Gannon spoke and he said, it's remarkable the amount of outreach and response we've seen implemented over the past couple years. Stories of addiction, loss, suicide, domestic violence, and the level of stress and anxiety in our schools and our children were met with some very positive outcomes in many successful programs run in the county. Mental Health Association's Youth Mental Health and Wellbeings program is in 40 of our schools. The Arrive program, which has been implemented here in the township, is also expanding. The level of trust between our residents, law enforcement, and municipal leadership to continue to prioritize our commitment to saving lives and offering solutions to those affected by mental health issues remains a priority. Tomorrow night, I already spoke about the roundtable. So, as I close, after hearing the reporting from last night, I want to wish all of our families a great school year and hope that from our very youngest students just beginning to our seniors in high school, you remember to enjoy every moment. And faced with a bad day, a bad test, or any setback, know that you are supported by your family, your teachers, administrative staff, and counselors. We are all here to help you. The last thing I'm going to just let everybody know, because today, September 18th, is National Cheeseburger Day, which is something I look forward to after these meetings. So I'm going to wrap up with that, hoping that maybe we get to do that. So
I'm going to have to look up when National Chicken Wing Day is, because that's what I look forward to.
So now we will open our second public comment inquiry period. There are currently 5 members of the public, 5 members, no, there's 3 members of the public joining us and 5 members on Zoom. At this time, we will open public comment. We'll first take comments from in-person attendees, then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please raise your hand in Zoom if you would like to speak. State your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note that you are limited to 5 minutes. If you have questions you would like answered, the remaining time will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open the public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak?
George Quillen, 9 Barberry Road. I wanted to thank the Township Committee members for their very interesting reports and commentary. And there are a lot of fascinating things going on in the township, so it's great to hear about those things. I'm particularly happy about Collinsville getting started, the Collinsville Playground Project. I wanted to ask one specific question, and I was reminded of this during the earlier brief discussion about the water utility. I noticed about 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was looking at the township website that it looked as though Morris Township has a vacancy on the water utility board. I wanted to ask if that's true.
It is not.
It is not?
Yeah, not at this time.
Okay, so perhaps the website was had not been updated, or maybe I misread what I saw on the website. Is there just one board member that Morris Township?
There's 2.
There are 2 that the township puts on the water board?
Yes.
Just to be clear, we don't waterboard people.
Yeah, thanks.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I just, sorry, Mayor, just to give more background on the water utility. So, Southeast Morris Water Utility, each town, the 4 towns, Morristown, Morris Township, Morris Plains, and Hanover Township, all have 2 board seats. So everyone has equal representation on that board. And the chair of the board shifts each year. So effectively every town gets a seat at the chairman's seat once every 4 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I do not see any hands raised. Seeing no one else here in public for comment, is there a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The time is now 8:16. Can I have a motion to
Mayor,
adjourn?
we need a motion to go back to the executive session.
Oh, okay. Is there a motion?
Yeah, Mayor, I move that we move back into executive session in order to complete the matters that had been outlined earlier this evening. I believe, Mr. Cantor, for the record, it's a legal
So we have,
It's a legal issue that we have remaining to discuss.
we have,
A general litigation, that's what I meant, a general litigation matter.
we have affordable housing under attorney-client, and we also have anticipated litigation under attorney-client and litigation privilege.
So there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Mary, you need a roll call.
Roll, is that a roll?
You need a roll call, yeah. If you're on the executive, you need a roll call.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes,
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
and Mayor Guariglia.
Yes.
and Mr. Cantor, for clarity of the record, we will return to this room after closed session to end the official meeting
But-
officially, correct?
Well, but to the public, there'll be no further formal action taken following executive session. So if the public, there will be no further formal action taken other than adjournment.
Thank you.
And I think we could probably adjourn from the closed session.
Okay, so the time is now 8:17 and we will go into closed session.